Welcome to TIFU with the Neckbeard crossover. I've got two stories in here that specifically deal with neckbeards, amongst other TIFUs. I hope you guys enjoy. Without further ado, here we go. Now for the Neckbeard crossover. This happened around 5 years ago. I used to play an MMO with a bunch of people I knew in real life. Out of all of them, I was the most interested in PvP, but I really sucked at it. One day a new guy shows up. He used to play, but he stopped for a few years. Everyone started talking about how he was basically a legend, a god at 1v1s. And they said allegedly, he was a former top player in the game, that he was so inhumanly good that he got mistaken for a bot. Allegedly. I immediately developed an awkward crush on him. He heard that I was into PvP, and he challenged me on a 1v1, which he promptly kicked my butt. He spent a lot of time condescending. Yeah, I'm really good at this. It'll take you years to catch up with me. There are just some people who just can't get good at this game, especially females. He said that he would give me tips on how to improve, and that he would show me the ropes. Being a dork with a crush, I was grateful for the attention that he gave me. His idea of teaching me was basically beat me over and over again. After a few days of this, he apparently got bored of bragging about himself and not having a challenge, so he stopped paying attention to me. I was embarrassed that I was so bad, and I kept losing. So I thought, if I can impress him, he would spend more time with me in-game. So I spent a stupid amount of time practicing and researching. I'm talking like 6 hours on the weekdays and 10 hours on the weekend. I literally lost weight because I stopped snacking and I ate a minimum amount so that I could get right back to it. So after like 10 months of non-stop playing, I improved a stupid crazy amount. I managed to jokingly convince him to duel me again, and I beat him. Well, he thought that was just a fluke. I demand for a rematch. So we played again, and I beat him again. I must be rusty after all these years of not playing. Let's try that again. Well, eventually he got so mad that he changed his build and had a rematch. So we played again, and I beat him again. He changed his build again so that he could exactly counter mine, and he beat me. So I was so happy because I thought that he was into it. So I changed my build to counter his, and I beat him. It turned into a stupid back and forth. I was having the time of my life. I thought I was showing off my improvement to a guy that I liked. I learned theory crafting, I learned how to play properly, and etc. Meanwhile, he was raging his head off on the other side of the screen. After a lot of back and forth, killing each other in turns, he finally says, "I'm done, I gotta log off." I have no idea what happened, and I figured that real life things were going on. Well, he didn't log in for a while, and I heard from a mutual friend that he quit the game. He claimed, "Well, I was only back temporarily because I was on break, and I need to focus on my real life job and stuff right now." I didn't connect that with beating him. I just thought the timing was bad. I was sad that I wasn't able to see him again. He never logged back on again. A few months later, we all met in real life, and he basically ignored me. Then he made a point of commenting so that I could hear it. He said, "I don't like girls that are into gaming like I am. Girls who like games too much are basically guys, and I'm not into guys." That's when I realized his ego had been severely damaged by a girl beating him in a game. That's why he stopped playing, and he literally never returned to the game again. After a few more years, I quit playing. And funny enough, I heard from a mutual friend that he decided to play again as soon as I was off the game. Come to find out, he is only slightly good. He wasn't an actual pro. They just thought that he was. He was never actually top tier in the game. At the end of the day, I wasn't even considered close to top tier either. If you want to get rid of a neckbeard, try to impress them. So I ordered takeout last Friday. I got it from a delivery service because I was really hungry. When the order page advanced to the tipping stage, I played around with the tipping animation, which was kinda satisfying. The app plays this confetti animation whenever you raise the tip. Anyway, I went up to like $50 because my finger was getting too tired, so began the tip amount to something more reasonable. My order was like $25. Here's where I messed up. So I began lowering the tip. My phone momentarily froze, and the amount suddenly dropped to 0. So I increased it back up to 5. Anyway, I placed the order without looking, and it came. After the handout was completed, I was checking out the food, and I heard a knock. The delivery woman was tearing up. She said that I shouldn't have. She said that she's been a single mother, and the tip was greatly appreciated. I was perplexed, because a person was thanking me for just $5? Then I realized that something went wrong, and it gave her the original $50. Oh well, I cut my losses because there is no way I'm going to deprive this woman of her happiness. I'm probably not going to order takeout for quite a while. Well, okay. Well, this happened around 10 years ago. I was studying abroad in Europe, and I was staying with an old lady. She lived in a fancy apartment, and for the first 2 weeks, until I figured out where to live on my own, I walked into the bathroom for the first night, and I saw a toilet, and then beside it, there looked like a toilet without a seat. Well, I handled my business, washed my hands, then realized there weren't any towels next to the sink. I looked around, finally found one. It's hanging on the wall closer to the toilet. That's a weird location, but whatever. From then on, every time I washed my hands or face, I would beeline it straight for that towel and try to avoid dripping any water on the bathroom floor. Well, my last night there, I finally swallowed my pride, and I asked my host mother how to use the other toilet. She asked me to demonstrate, fully clothed, how I thought it was used, and I soon learned that it was a bidet. So I awkwardly straddled it. I was facing the wall and holding the plumbing and the lever like handlebars on a bicycle. She laughed and laughed and laughed and cried because she laughed so hard. She finally explained how to use it properly. I cataloged that away as a new bit of information for future use. Fast forward 8 years. COVID is in full swing, and people are starting to hoard toilet paper like a mofo. I'm down to 6 rolls. Now, I have IBS, and there's no way that it's going to last for multiple weeks in the time it takes to hunt down a fresh pack of TP. I think to myself, this is it. It is my time to free myself from the toilet paper chains. I start looking up bidet attachments for my toilet, reading reviews, and comparing techniques to maximize my hygiene. In the middle of the deep dive of information, I come across this guy's review, saying that he got the best results when he wiped the sprays off using a towel he keeps next to the bidet. Something inside of me clicked, and I felt my soul leaving my body. I just realized the hand towel that I used to dry my hands and my face for 2 weeks was also drying this old woman's butthole. Ugh, I still cringe. I was in the bathroom doing my business when a spider dropped down in front of my face, hanging on its web from the ceiling. I don't really like spiders, so I wanted it to go away as soon as possible. The way I decided to achieve this was to blow it away from me. Well, it swung away. You're probably sure what happened next. It swung back and landed right on my face. That's when I suspect when my last remaining brain cells exited the building. Instead of swatting at it, I decided to bravely flail around in my face with my hands, hoping to brush it off of me. And of course, I did this with my eyes closed, lest it somehow bit me in the eyeball. So when it did fall, I had no idea where it went. I was terrified. Where did it go? Did it land in my crotch? Did it land in my pants? I didn't know, so I sat there trembling. Where'd it go? Eventually I saw it chilling on the bath mat, and I was able to finish up in the bathroom. But the whole time, I could not take my eye off of it for so much as a second. After that, I sprinted out of there. A few months back, I was over at my friend's house. Let's call him T. T loves guns and army stuff, as well as things that go boom with projectiles. So he and his dad built a potato launcher. Basically, it's a PVC pipe attached to a wider PVC pipe that is jerry-rigged with a taser reaching the inside. The larger PVC pipe is the chamber, and the narrow one is the barrel. You stuff the potato down the barrel, fill the chamber with hairspray, close the chamber, aim, then hit the taser. Usually it goes off without a hitch, and we've been messing around with it for a while. We even got a video of a really well-placed shot. It was aimed at the backyard basketball goal, and it blew off a big chunk of plastic. It was glorious. One time though, it didn't go off. We were trying to figure out why, but nothing seemed to get it to work. So we took the potato out, and we tried to get it to work, introducing more air and putting in more hairspray. Then I had the bright idea to look down the barrel and see if the spark was working. Well, you could see where this is going. So I tell my friend to hit the taser and hold it down while I look into it. He holds it down for about 3 to 4 seconds before I looked in, since the barrel was long. I needed to adjust my head close so that I could nearly center my head over the barrel. That way I can view the taser. Needless to say, it went off just as I was in position, and it blew out a gust of heated air and a small amount of flame right into my face. Now, I have a lot of hair, as well as thick eyebrows and a Wolverine-style beard. Everything but the tips of my beard was charred. My skin felt tight and raw. T jumped up, patted my forehead, and we both went into the house, seeing how bad my face was. Somehow there was black all over my face. Still not sure what it was, but when we cleaned it off, I had a good chunk of eyebrow missing, and a lot of hair from my beard was burned. So yeah, word to the wise, don't look down a barrel of any sort. And here's the next Neckbeard story. Okay, strap in. This is gonna be a long one. I met this guy on Tinder, and we chatted for a week or so, and everything seemed great. He was interesting, funny, intelligent, had similar nerd interest. What could possibly go wrong? Well, there's my first screw up. Expectations. You think I learned by now to wait a little before getting excited. Well, we decided to go out on a date, and this would have been the first time we met face to face. Okay, so we met up. All seemed well. He was funny, interesting, and intelligent. That's great. But then I noticed he had long, dirty fingernails, and half of his front teeth were missing. So I'm thinking, it's not a big deal. I liked everything else about him so far. Surely, these aren't really red flags for me yet, or deal breakers. At this point, I should have probably realized that these things were in fact red flags, but I was blinded by my desire to be in love. So now, there's 2 mild screw-ups. So we're messaging each other after the date to arrange when we can see each other again. Obviously, I tell my girlfriends about it. One says, "Nope, those dirty fingernails say everything you need to know. I wouldn't go out with them again." Me, thinking I knew better, brushed it off and ignored the advice. That's the next screw-up. Now, date number 2. I meet up with him after work. I'm waiting outside and he arrives, looking slightly shabby. No problem. Then I took a closer look. His shoes were not laced up. His clothes were actually dirty. I can see visible streaks of dirt, and they weren't subtle. It's like he rubbed his hands in mud, then wiped it on the front of his clothes, over and over and over. I think maybe he didn't realize it. Maybe it's because he walked his dog. I don't know. Again, I'm brushing it off, ignoring the giant brown flag in front of me. He leans in to kiss me, and he has a faint smell of booze. Now bear in mind, this is 3:30 p.m., and he's been home all by himself for the whole day. I still ignore all of this, and we go to his house to hang out. I know what you're thinking. Why? Why would I continue to go to his house? Well, I thought I was being a bit fussy or judgmental. After all, nothing else in his behavior caused me to feel uncomfortable. In hindsight, that was another screw-up. So, we're at his door and he says, excuse my place, it's a bit of a mess. And in my experience, a lot of people say that, but actually, there's no mess. There's only a few stray plates that need to be washed up, and that's about it. This is about the time that dread really set in. So we go through the door, straight up a set of stairs. There's a paint can and a stray sock on the way up. No worries, that's manageable. But really, who wouldn't have just picked up a sock? I continued up the stairs, then I get a smell. I'm assuming it's just because he has a dog? And he clearly doesn't hoover regularly, so that could probably be the smell. I get to the top of the stairs, and I fully realize this was a huge mistake. I have ignored all the things that would have saved me from this. But here I am, standing in a kitchen. It's full of trash. There's stuff piled everywhere. There's no surface that doesn't have dirty dishes. There's old food, trash, and random crap scattered across the floor. The smell is absolutely terrible, and I'm fighting to keep a straight face. I look at him, expecting some kind of reaction from him, like, I'm so embarrassed, but there's nothing. The only thing he says is, "Do you mind if I have a drink?" Now, keep in mind, I'm kind of in shock. I'm like, what the seriously? He proceeded to pour himself a huge drink, take the bottle with him, and go into the living room. I follow him, but I don't want to touch anything. I feel dirty just standing there. I immediately try to devise a plan to bail. Through the living room, the theme continues. Trash everywhere. The walls are stained. Dust covered everything. I go to sit down, and I see the couch has no covers on it, and it's stained brown. There's debris littered across everything. I see a pile of empty alcohol bottles and cans. This is when I realize he's probably got a bit of a problem, and I'm actually in trouble here. I spend the next hour trying to make excuses to go. He spends the hour ignoring my subtle hints and starts complaining, "Oh, my mother, she's such a she won't help me out with anything. Ask her for money because I'm running low. My ex, she's a terrible woman, always demanding me to do stuff like clean." There are way too many awkward moments to write. At one point, he walks right past me, and he cuts my foot with his long, sharp toenails. The whole thing just got worse and worse. When I finally try to get up, he tries to initiate a makeout session, and here I am trying not to vomit from the smell and the look. I am so uncomfortable, and I push him off of me, and I make a very quick dash for the door. He starts to pout, and he ignores me. Safe to say, I shall not be going back to there again. Now that I'm home, I'm contemplating burning my clothes or washing everything with bleach. Thank you guys very much for joining me for this edition of TIFU. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to give a special thanks to my patrons for your help and your assistance. I want to thank everyone for your wonderful comments. That gives me the motivation to keep going. It's really most of my enjoyment for this. I do love doing this, but you know, at $2 an hour, it takes more than just doing it for fun. Knowing that I'm entertaining other people and helping their day be better means a lot to me. That's really what means the most to me, honestly. You can also share this video with others so I can get more exposure, and hit that like button. That'll definitely help out a bunch. Thank you guys very much for watching again, and don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The links are in the description. We try to post stuff as much as possible, so I hope you check them out. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to reading your comments, and until next time, this is Dallas, signing off.